The sky was orange, soft, and quiet. Dust moved slowly across the dry ground. In the middle of a wide, empty field stood a small grave. It was made from old stones. A tiny, broken toy sat on top of it. A tall, alien woman knelt by the grave. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes big and full of pain. She wore a long brown cloak. Her hands shook as she touched the stone. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her tears said everything. She had lost her child. A few steps behind her stood a human man. His name was Jack. He was a space explorer, a soldier once, now a helper. He had short dark hair, a long jacket, and tired eyes. He watched the alien mother but didn't speak either, because Jack knew something the mother didn't. The child she was crying for was not dead. Jack looked at the grave, then at the woman. Her shoulders moved with each silent cry. He wanted to tell her the truth, but he couldn't. Not yet. It started 2 weeks ago. Jack had been on a mission. A strange signal had come from this planet. Small, broken, hard to understand. Command thought it was just noise. But Jack had a feeling. So he came alone. He landed, far from here, near old alien ruins. The place looked empty, but Jack kept searching. On the second day, he heard a sound. Faint, like breathing. He followed it through dark tunnels, past broken stone walls. Then he found the child. The alien boy was very small. His skin was dry and gray. He was barely alive, lying under broken metal and stone. His chest moved just a little. His fingers twitched. Jack didn't wait. He picked up the boy gently and wrapped him in his jacket. He spoke softly. "You're okay now, I got you." He ran back to his ship. He didn't tell command. He flew straight to an old outpost station. It was quiet, far from anyone else. He called an old friend there, Dr. Lena. She was a good doctor, one who didn't ask too many questions. "He's alien," Jack said. "He's just a kid, but he's dying. Please help him." Dr. Lena didn't argue. She got to work. The child was weak but strong inside. Day by day he got better. He drank, ate, and even smiled a little. He couldn't speak Jack's language, but he would hold his hand tightly. At night he cried softly and said one word in his language. Over and over again. Amari. Jack didn't know what it meant until today. Standing by the grave, he heard the alien woman say the same word, soft and broken. Amari. It was her child's name. This was her grave. But it was empty. Jack had found the boy far away from here. Maybe others thought he had died in the attack. Maybe someone buried this grave with no body, just a toy. A grave made for memory, not truth, and now the mother believed it. Jack's hands curled into fists. He wanted to shout, "He's alive, I saved him," but he knew he couldn't. Not yet. There were still dangers. The war on this planet had ended only weeks ago. Alien factions still roamed the land. Some hated humans. Some hunted survivors. If they knew the child was alive, they would come. They would not let a human be the hero. So Jack waited. He watched the mother cry until her tears dried. She stood slowly, leaving the toy on the stone. She whispered, "I'm sorry, Amari. I wasn't strong enough." Then she walked away. Jack stayed behind. He looked at the grave once more. The toy was old, dirty but loved. He picked it up and held it in his hand. It was shaped like a small starship. "I'll give this back to him," Jack said quietly. "He'll want it." Then he turned and walked toward his ship. The camera zooms out. Wide shot of the field, the grave, the fading orange sky. Then Jack's voice is heard. She doesn't know her child is alive. But she will, soon. The room was dark, quiet except for a slow beeping sound. A small figure lay under a thin glowing blanket. Wires were connected to his chest and arms. Machines blinked softly around him. The air was warm, clean, and smelled like medicine. He looked peaceful, but not long ago he had been dying. This was Amari, the alien child who should have died. 2 weeks ago he had been trapped under a broken building, left alone in the cold. His skin was dry. His body was still. Even his heartbeat was fading. But now, he was alive. And only one human knew the truth. Jack sat beside the bed watching the child breathe. His eyes were red from no sleep. He had not left the room since bringing Amari here. Every sound made him turn his head, afraid someone might come. He had broken rules, big rules, but he didn't care. Amari's fingers twitched. His lips moved slightly. Jack leaned forward. "Amari," he whispered. The child didn't open his eyes, but he said one word again, in a soft, broken voice. "Mama." Jack looked away. His heart hurt. The boy missed his mother so badly, even in sleep. Jack had seen that mother today, crying beside an empty grave. He had wanted to tell her everything, but he couldn't. Not yet. If people knew the boy was alive, they would come, and not to help. The war on this planet had ended, but the hate hadn't. Some aliens still blamed humans for everything. Some humans still believed aliens were all enemies. Amari would be in danger from both sides. A door opened quietly. Dr. Lena stepped in. She was tall, calm, and always serious. She had helped Jack many times before, but never like this. "He's stable," she said softly. "Stronger than I expected." Jack nodded. "Will he wake soon?" "Maybe, but when he does, we need a plan." Jack stood and looked down at Amari. The child was small, no more than 6 Earth years, but he had survived something no child should. "We have to get him home," Jack said. "To his mother." Dr. Lena's face changed. She looked worried. "Do you know who she is?" Jack nodded. "I saw her, today." "She thinks he's dead?" "Yes. She was crying at his grave." Dr. Lena didn't speak. She stared at Amari. "If we bring him to her, it could cause trouble," she said. "Some will say it's a trick. Others might try to take him." Jack's eyes hardened. "Then we make sure they don't." There was silence. Then, slowly, Amari's eyes opened. They were bright gold, glowing softly in the dark room. Jack stepped forward, careful, gentle. "Hey, little guy." The boy blinked, confused. "You're safe now." "I'm Jack. You remember me?" Amari looked at him. He didn't speak. Jack held up the small toy starship, the one from the grave. "Your mom left this. I thought maybe you'd want it." The boy's eyes changed. He reached out with weak fingers and took the toy. He held it tightly to his chest. Then he said a word, quiet but clear. "Mama." Jack swallowed hard. "We'll find her, I promise." Outside, stars blinked in the sky. The wind moved gently across the planet's surface. Far away, Ayal's mother sat alone, thinking her son was gone forever. But hope was alive. And something even more powerful had begun. Not war, not revenge. Something very human. Something called love. The child was sleeping again. Jack sat in the corner of the room, half awake, listening to every sound. Outside, the stars were quiet, but inside Jack's mind, alarms were ringing. He had broken too many rules, and someone was watching him. The medical outpost was far from any main base. It was built to be forgotten, just a small place to store supplies and treat injuries from old battles. But now it held something more. A secret. An alien child who should be dead, but wasn't. Jack stood and looked at the sleeping boy, Amari. The toy starship still rested in the child's hands. Even in sleep, he wouldn't let go. "He trusts me," Jack whispered. "I can't let him down." He stepped out of the room into the hallway. The walls were gray, the lights dim. Most of the outpost was shut down. Only a few rooms were still working thanks to Dr. Lena. But someone else had entered the base last night. Jack saw the mark near the door, a faint print on the floor, too fresh to be old. Someone had been here. He moved quickly down the hall to the security room. The door was locked, but he had the code. Inside, old screens showed camera views from the halls. He rewound the footage. At 02:17 a.m., a shadow moved. It wasn't Lena. It wasn't Jack. A tall figure in dark clothes had walked past the child's door, silent, careful, watching. Jack's fists clenched. Someone knows. He downloaded the footage, erased the record, and locked the door again. Back in the medical room, Lena was checking Amari's pulse. She looked up when Jack entered. "He's okay," she said. He smiled a little when I gave him water. Jack showed her the video. Her face turned cold. "Whoever that was," she said. "They didn't come to help." Jack nodded. "We need to move soon before they come back." Lena paused. "Where will you go?" Jack didn't know. He looked at Amari. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere quiet." He didn't say it out loud, but he was thinking of the mother. She had looked so broken, her eyes full of loss, her hands holding nothing. She didn't know her child was alive. Jack wanted to fix that, but now, someone else might be watching, someone dangerous. Far away, on a tall mountain, a ship landed in silence. Man stepped out. He wore black armor and had hard eyes. His face had scars and his voice was cold. He was not human, and not kind. He walked to a small table where a machine beeped. A message played. "The human has the child. Confirmed. Outpost 47. The man smiled. "I'll find them," he said, "and I'll finish what the war didn't." Back at the outpost, Amari woke up. He looked around, scared. Jack rushed to his side. "It's okay, you're safe, I'm here." Amari reached out and grabbed Jack's hand. He didn't speak, but his eyes were full of fear. Jack sat beside him. "I know you miss your mom. I'm going to take you to her. But we need to be careful. Bad people are looking for us." The child nodded slowly. Jack didn't know how much he understood. But trust didn't need words. That night, Jack stood outside under the stars. He looked up at the sky, thinking, "I'm not a hero," he whispered. "But maybe I can be something better." Behind him, a small voice said, "Jack?" It was the first time Amari had said his name. Jack turned, surprised. Amari stood at the door holding the toy ship. "I'm here," Jack said, smiling. "Let's get you home." The alarm didn't sound. There was no loud siren, no flashing red light, but danger had arrived. Jack knew it the moment he saw the stars disappear. Something was blocking the sky. He rushed to the outpost window. A black ship was landing, quiet, heavy, and fast. It had no lights, no markings. It wasn't from the human base, and it wasn't friendly. Jack turned and ran. "Lena!" he shouted. "They're here!" Dr. Lena dropped her tablet and rushed into the room. "How did they find us?" Jack didn't answer. He ran to Amari's bed and scooped the child into his arms. Amari clung to his neck, holding the toy ship tight. "We have to go," Jack said. Lena opened the back door. "Take tunnel 3, I'll slow them down. You'll get caught. I'm not the one they're after." Jack nodded once. "Thank you." Then he ran. Below the outpost, an old tunnel led through the rocks. It hadn't been used in years, but Jack remembered it from maps. It was cold, dark, and full of dust. Amari coughed softly against Jack's shoulder. Jack whispered, "I've got you, just hold on." Above them, boots hit the floor. The enemy had entered the base. The man in black armor walked through the hallway. His eyes were cold. He looked at the empty bed, then at the marks on the floor. He took the child. He turned to Lena. "Where?" She looked him in the eye. "I don't talk to murderers." He raised a weapon. "Then die quiet." But before he could shoot, a gas tank beside her exploded. She had set a trap. Smoke filled the room. Lights broke. The man covered his eyes. Lena ran. In the tunnel, Jack heard the sound. Boom. He stopped. Lena, he said under his breath. Amari looked up. She helped? Jack nodded. She's brave. They kept moving, deeper into the mountain. At the end of the tunnel, a door opened to the surface. Outside, the wind was sharp and cold. A small scout vehicle waited there. Jack had parked it earlier just in case. He put Amari inside and strapped him in. The child asked, "We going to Mama?" Jack looked at him. "Yes, but we need to be fast." He turned the key. The engine started. Behind them, the black ship sent out drones, silent, fast, flying like shadows across the rocks. They scanned the land. They searched for heat, sound, movement. Jack drove hard. The vehicle sped across the rough ground, tires bouncing, lights off. Dust rose behind them. Stars shone above, but no moon, just cold, empty night. Amari looked up, at the sky, then at Jack. Scared. Jack reached over and touched his hand. "I am too, but I won't let them hurt you." The boy held tighter. Suddenly a shadow moved in front of them. Jack swerved. A drone had found them. It fired. A blast hit the side of the vehicle, sending sparks and smoke into the air. The car spun, then stopped. Jack jumped out, grabbed Amari, and ran toward the rocks. The drone followed. Jack reached into his belt, pulled a small EMP grenade, and threw it. Boom. The drone fell from the sky, dead, but more were coming. They found a cave, small, hidden under thick rocks. Jack slid inside with Amari and held his breath. Outside, the sound of engines passed. Silence. They were safe. For now. Inside the cave, Jack set Amari down and gave him water. The boy drank slowly, then looked up. "Why you help me?" he asked softly. Jack sat down beside him. He didn't answer at first. Then he spoke. "Because you're just a kid. You didn't start the war. You didn't hurt anyone. You didn't deserve to die alone in the cold." He looked at Amari. "And because your mother is still out there, crying for you. I saw her." Amari's eyes filled with tears. He crawled into Jack's arms and whispered, "Mama." Jack held him close. "We'll find her, no matter what it takes." Morning came slow to the red sky. Cold wind brushed the dusty plains. The small grave sat quietly, alone, just like before. A toy starship rested on the stones, now partly buried under sand. Then, a shadow appeared. She had returned, the alien. Mother stood at the edge of the grave, her long cloak trailing behind her. Her name was Sarai. Her eyes were tired, her face pale, but something had pulled her back here. She had come to say goodbye again. But this time, something felt wrong. She knelt by the grave and touched the toy. Her fingers froze. The toy had changed position. She remembered clearly. She had left it standing upright. Now it was on its side, half covered by fresh dust. And near it, small prints. Not animal, not machine, child-sized. Her heart skipped. "No," she whispered. She began to dig gently with shaking hands. There was no body. Just an empty space under the stones. Sarai fell back, her mouth open in shock. She stared at the grave, now just a hole. She whispered her child's name, like a prayer. Amari. Far away, Jack held Amari as they crossed through a forest. Leaves above glowed faintly under alien light. The forest was quiet, peaceful. Jack moved slowly, his weapon ready. He had found an old path used during the war. Abandoned now. Amari was tired. He rested his head on Jack's shoulder. "We're almost there," Jack said. "There's a place where I can send a signal. If your mother's alive, we'll find her." Amari blinked. "You think she's still—" "Wait for me." Jack looked at the boy. "She hasn't stopped. I saw it in her eyes." Back at the grave, Sarai stood still. She didn't cry this time. She wasn't broken. She was burning, burning with hope, burning with confusion, burning with something stronger than fear. She went to her ship and turned on an old device, a voice beacon. The signal was weak, but she sent out a call. She didn't know where to send it, so she aimed it at the stars. It was a mother's voice. Soft, sad, searching. If you hear this, if you have my son, please tell me he's alive. I will not hurt you. I only want him back. Hours later, Jack reached the old communication tower deep in the woods. It was broken, but he worked fast. The signal was weak, but enough. He set it to scan open frequencies. As he fixed the wires, Amari sat beside him, holding the toy starship. Suddenly, a voice crackled from the speaker. Jack froze. Then the words came. My son, please, Amari, if you hear this. Amari gasped. Jack looked at him. Is that? Amari nodded, eyes wide. Jack spoke into the mic. We have him. He's alive. We're bringing him to you. Silence. Then the voice returned. Who are you? Jack replied. A friend. Then he smiled. And maybe the worst rule breaker in the galaxy. Far above, in orbit, the enemy ship caught the signal. The man in black armor listened. He smiled. Coldly, they're making contact. He turned to his team. Prepare the strike. Night covered the planet like a blanket of shadows. In the middle of a ruined forest, Jack and Amari sat near the old comm tower. Smoke still rose from wires. The signal was weak, but it had worked. On the other end, she had heard him. Sarai, the alien mother. She had heard her son's voice, and now she was coming. But they were not alone anymore. In the sky above, the black ship waited, watching, listening. Inside, the armored man stood over a map. A red dot blinked. They're trying to meet, he said. How sweet. He turned to his soldiers. Let them. We'll be waiting. On the ground, Jack was thinking fast. He knew the enemy was close. He knew they had tracked the signal. But he also knew something else. They only cared about who had the child, not why. And that was his only advantage. We can't wait here, Jack told Lena over the comm. They'll hit this place first. Lena, hiding in the mountains, answered, You have one chance. One clean road left through the crater valley. It leads to the old peace station. Jack remembered it. A place built long ago for human-alien talks. Empty now. Silent. But it's open ground, Lena warned. If they find you, you'll have no cover. Jack looked at Amari, curled up next to him, sleeping with the toy ship in his hand. Then we move fast, Jack said. Tell her to meet us there. Far away, Sarai prepared her old ship. She wore light armor now and carried nothing but a small pack. Her heart beat fast. The hope she had almost buried was alive again. A new message came from Lena. Meet him at Peace Station, sunset. Come alone, Sarai whispered. I would cross stars to hold him again. She set her ship on course. Sunset came. The sky was a deep gold. Wind carried red dust through the empty valley. In the center stood the Peace Station. Broken walls, shattered windows, old banners half torn. Jack arrived first. He placed Amari behind cover and scanned the hills with binoculars. No sign of enemies, but his gut told him they were there. He pulled out a small cube, his last jammer. It would block trackers for 5 minutes. No more. Stay hidden, he told Amari. No matter what. Then, a hum in the distance. A small ship appeared in the sky, slow and careful. Sarai's ship. She landed gently and stepped out. Jack stood. Between her and the child, their eyes met. You're the human who sent the message? Sarai asked. Jack nodded. Your son is alive. Sarai stepped forward. Her voice trembled. Where is he? Jack turned slightly. Behind that wall, safe. But, before she could move, boom! A blast hit the ground nearby. The enemy had arrived. Drones flew in. The black ship roared in the distance. "Run!" Jack shouted. Amari ran from behind the wall. "Mama!" Sarai gasped. "Amari!" They ran toward each other, but a drone flew down between them. Jack dove and shot it mid-air. It exploded in sparks. Sarai reached her son and grabbed him tight. Tears fell from her eyes as she whispered his name over and over again. Jack turned, gun ready. "I'll hold them off. Go." But Sarai didn't run. She stood beside him. "No more running, this is our stand." Above them, the black armored man watched the scene. A mother, a child, and one fool. He raised his weapon. End them. The air shook with fire. Smoke rose from broken ground. The sound of weapons echoed through the valley. Peace Station, once a place of hope, was now a battlefield. In the center stood Jack, bruised, bleeding, out of breath, but still standing. Beside him, Sarai, the alien mother, held her child tightly. Her eyes were wild with fear, but her body stood like a shield. Amari clung to her, crying. "Mama," Sarai whispered to him, voice cracking. "It's okay, my child. I have you now." Above them, the black ship circled. The armored enemy stood, on a high ridge, watching through glowing eyes. He spoke into a device. "End this now." Drones swarmed. Jack raised his last weapon. "Run!" he shouted to Sarai. "Take him and go." But Sarai didn't move. She looked at Jack, her voice strong. "You risked everything for my son. I will not leave you behind." Jack laughed through the pain. "You aliens sure are stubborn. You humans are worse." They stood back to back, human and alien, united by love and survival. Suddenly, a sound cut through the battle. A second ship, small, fast, human design. It flew in low and dropped a device, a blinding pulse. Zzzz, the drones shorted out and fell like metal rain. Jack looked up. "Lena," her voice came through the comm. "You didn't think I'd let you die alone, did you?" Jack grinned. "I owe you dinner." "You owe me a whole planet." Sarai looked at Jack. "We have to end this." Jack nodded. "We end it together." They ran toward the ridge, toward the enemy. Amari stayed behind, hidden in a crevice. "Mama, come back." On the ridge, the armored man raised his weapon. He didn't expect both of them, but Jack knew the terrain. As Sarai charged from the front, Jack climbed around behind. The fight was short, brutal, a flash, a shout, a scream. Then, silence. The enemy was gone. Later, the wind was still again. The fire was out. The peace station stood broken, but free. Jack limped back to Amari. Sarai was already there, on her knees, holding her son close. The boy looked at Jack and smiled. "You came back." Jack knelt beside him. "Always." Sarai looked at Jack with tears in her eyes. "You didn't have to do this, but you did." Jack smiled. "He reminded me of someone I lost. I couldn't save her, but I could save him." Sarai touched his arm gently. "You are more than human. You are family." Weeks later, the sun rose over a quiet village. Amari laughed as he ran through a garden. Sarai watched from a bench, peace finally in her eyes. A shuttle landed nearby. Jack stepped out in clean clothes for once. Amari ran to him. "You came back." Jack picked him up. "Just to say goodbye, my job's done." Sarai walked over. "You will always have a place here." Jack looked at them one last time. Then he smiled. "I didn't come to change a galaxy," he said. "But maybe I helped change one small life." He turned and walked back to the ship. The camera zooms out. A mother holds her son. A man walks into the sunrise. And peace. At last.